Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, dear friends. Welcome. Today we will now have Mrs. Soledad Murillo, the State Secretary of Equality, who cannot be here with us today. But we will have the Director of the National Observatory of Telecommunications. So she will be opening this conference. And also we have the State Secretary of Universities, Research and Development, at the end of the conference. So, Begoña, thank you so much to Repsol and Nuria and all your team for participating so much here with us and for allowing us to have this conference in your premises in this amazing room. We have here our third year of the conference Inspiring Women Leaders in the Digital Era. And today I forgot to say at the Embassy of the US, express my gratitude to Repsol and Deloitte and all our sponsors, because here we're going to talk about entrepreneurship and our environment. So thank you very much to all our sponsors, to Metro Bacesa, Procter & Gamble, and also to the Círculo de Empresarios, to the Real Academia de Ingeniería, the MIT, who came from Washington, all the different universities, and people came from Australia. Relay this guests can have, and all the people who are here, and also the people from Palo Alto. We have some leaders in technology, but they're also in Santo Domingo, Rosalina Amaro, who is also a great specialist in technology. Mrs. Vargas from Guatemala, Nadia Orduña, who is a specialist in telecommunications in Germany, Rita Selcom in Australia, who will hold a conference, an event tomorrow, and San Pablo CEU, the university, where they have a parallel event, because there were so many people who were interested to participate in this conference that we have opened a parallel event so that the entrepreneurship director could host all the people who wanted to participate in this conference. But obviously the space in this room is limited. So next, I would like to also thank my whole team and all the women who have created this foundation, Sandra, Paz, Ines, Itziar, Lerea, Laura, and all my colleagues, together with Nati and many other colleagues. Thanks to you, we managed to organize all this. It's been many kilometers for all the women to be with us today here. For this, altogether, we sort of like traveled around the world 5 times in kilometers to be here, because we have people here from Australia or from Washington or Palo Alto. So thank you so much for being here with us, for sharing your knowledge and for creating value, because this is about creating value in the organizations, in our society, everywhere. Our dreams is to inspire and to construct the new generation of women in startups, in technology companies, and to help people achieve their dreams. This is our ways of disseminating what we're doing and to open our ecosystem to create value, to start companies, and to start a dialogue. In the report in August from the European Commission this year, we can read that if women were more in the digital sector, we would increase our GDP by 16 billion euro. Also, if the teams were more diverse with more women, the GDP in Europe will be also much higher. So we will be creating more value. So we need to change things so that we can see things different, with less politics. So we have the sponsorship of men and women who are helping to escalate businesses. We are creating bridges with Silicon Valley, with Israel, Germany, the US, South Africa. So the world is becoming smaller and smaller thanks to new technology. And this year we've changed our name. Now our new name is W Startup Community, because when we are in community, we are doubled. We are helping each other. And with this progress, with this knowledge, we can achieve our goals faster. We have progressed and interacted with many women from over 20 countries. We have different initiatives, We are inclusive, or we always include men as well. So we aggregate new value, and we share innovation. So we are participating in this Revolution 4.0. We will have 6 panels. First will be on panels. This is for different corporates to discuss the different disruptive technologies. Next, we will have new disruptive models. And next will be about best practices across the world. Next, we will have investment. And finally, we will be discussing the new features which we need, the new abilities for this revolution, and also we'll discuss something about ethics. This year we will be granting 2 prizes to the best new startup. We had a hackathon last weekend with Alastria. And together with our startup community team, we are looking for a new technology solution through blockchain to do more of social reporting, because this will be compulsory from next year for all the companies in the stock market. So today we'll be granting for the first time these prizes, and this is quite important. David, who is a big expert of corporate governance in Canada, he says that in the governing boards, we talk a lot about compliance, but we need to have a better strategy, and we need to see how to implement this strategy. And this can be done with talent. We need to take the time to find this talent. And talent is here in this very room. Often we see technology, Facebook, Google, or Apple, and it's mainly led by men. But now it is the time for us, women, to lead these new technologies, these new companies. So now with the new technologies, with 5G, I very much hope that it will create a new sort of Facebook led by a woman with new opportunities for us. We are now in a very breakthrough moment towards digitalization, and our collaborative attitude will help us to add our values. So we have more and more startups everywhere, and we need to be part of this new creation. We would like you to enjoy today's conference and the great experiences we'll have through the different panelists coming from all over the world, from the different continents. I think we have people from all the continents. And from W Startup Community, we'll be happy to discuss with you about all these different topics. And the hashtags for today should be Digital Women, W, and Inspiring Women Leaders, so that we can also have a big impact on the social media. So enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon. My name is Begoña Lices from the team of Repsol. I would like to welcome you to our campus, to our conference hall here at Repsol, and welcome to the 3rd conference of Inspiring Women in the Digital Era. For the team of Repsol, it is a great honor to have you here with us today, because we believe and we know last year it was a great success, and I know this year we also have a great talent of very empowered women who show how, with the new technologies in the world, with the new times to come, which is faster and faster in the digital world, I know you are leading important projects, and you work very efficiently. This is something very important, and this is to really achieve the real gender equality. So we need to be prepared to have a great time today. Teresa has prepared an amazing agenda with loads of interesting projects. So we will be learning, and we will also have a good time. So this will be very inspiring for all of us. When it comes to Repsol, we are totally committed with real gender equality. And this is our society considers that equality is something necessary to be a fair, a better society. This is a matter of values, of justice, of ethics, of accountability. But we at Repsol, we are a corporate, and we believe that equality is a matter of numbers, of benefits. There is no company that wants to be competitive or efficient and to survive in a competitive environment such as it is today in the 21st century. So there is no company that can succeed without half of the talent we have in the society, and this is the feminine or the female talent. And also, university can offer great knowledge also when it comes to women. I will try to be very brief, but in this commitment at Repsol, we have a self-request. Just to give you a figure, just one figure, which may appear obvious, corporates, the new candidates that join our company at Repsol, when we hire new people, we try to find a balance of 50% women and 50% men for the new incoming workers. And regarding technology and digitalization of Repsol, these are the areas where we are supporting the digital transformation of our company. So this balance is slightly in favor of the new women. So every year now we're having new women joining our company. We have more women than men joining Repsol. But I would like to warn you about something we are observing at Repsol, because this, which may sound very simple, this may appear that the new workers are 50% of each gender, but this is not as easy as it may appear. And we can see that in the near future, it will become even more difficult. And this is a sort of a paradox, because in today's context, where we have digitalization is going faster and faster every day, and it is getting deeper and deeper. We never thought of this a few years ago. And this is in the public, in the corporate, and in the private sphere. We can see that there is a higher demand of scientific and technology profiles for the companies. And just for you to have some data, the European Union says that in the next 2 years, at least 45% of new employment in the European Union will be directly related to the digital environment. So with this new growing field, this is technology and digitalization in today's environment, we are creating an explosion of demand for these profiles in all the companies. But in Europe and in Spain specifically, we have a big gap of people who are interested in these fields. There's a gap or a lack of people with this expertise and with the right training to cover these positions. So the association in technology in Spain identifies that at least there are 10,000 technology positions in Spain that we cannot cover every year because there are no qualified people in Spain. This is something which is difficult to understand. And if additionally we now analyze the gender, we have more of a problem. According to Eurostat, only 15.6% of tech specialists in technology of information are women, only around 15%, as I said. But what will happen in the near future? Well, the data may be even worse. Only 10% of students of IT in Spain are women as of today. This is also something which is difficult to understand. So why is this? We need to go a bit in depth in the cause of this. So in addition to this data I just mentioned, it is difficult for Repsol and for other corporates to find female talent in a world of digitalization as a new door to wealth and to the employments of the future. So there's a big gender gap, which makes it even more difficult to do something obvious, which would be to incorporate female and male talent in the same proportion. So what do we have to do? So in the companies and in the public sector, we need to work in something which is the unconscious divisions. This is also being biased towards the genders, because this is not reality. So for example, so why can boys be more detailed than girls? So I don't need to encourage you here in this room to try to work against this biased perception. But I do believe that today's example of inspiring women, you're inspiring for the society, for entrepreneurs. I know you're very hardworking and you are digital. So you are a very clear example of how the new model of society should be. That's why we are so happy at Repsol. And thus, it is a great honor to be here with you. Thank you very much.
Pues muchísimas gracias. Antes de nada, gracias.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to participate in this event for the second time. I would like to thank you, Teresa, and your great team. I'm very pleased to be here and to support, on behalf of the European institutions, also with together with Maria Andres, the director of the European Parliament here in Madrid. At the European Union, 51 out of 100 people are women. But when it comes to technologies, it is only 17. Women are those underrepresented in many spheres, and the digital sphere is one of those. And since we have fewer women, it is less likely to have girls studying studies related to these positions, as Begoña just mentioned. And as a matter of fact, statistics say that after the age of 15, it is less likely that girls will study science or technology. And this has an impact on the whole society. So there is a big inequality when it comes to access to new technologies. So this is the digital gender gap we have. So we have, it is more women than men who have never ever used the internet, and there are fewer women who use a computer on a daily basis compared to men. And this is not just in developing countries, but also in Spain. So the presence of women in the digital world is something we really need, not just because this helps to fight against inequality, but also because the digital sector offers employment for highly qualified experts. So this helps for empowering of women, and this is positive to reduce the salary gap. So we consider that it is necessary to have women participating in all sectors to create a bigger visibility to their talent, and this is necessary for the new generations to come. So from the Office of the European Parliament in Spain, we have created an initiative named So Where Are Women? Where Are the Women? This is to have expert women offering different conferences and different dialogues. And the members of this program, we now have 70 members. They have a yearly conference with a commitment to improve these figures every year. And thanks to this initiative of the European Union, we have managed to have 4 in every 10 speakers to be women. It is very clear that in this event, we do not need more initiatives because we don't need to look for the women in this conference. But here, when it comes to inspiring women leaders, we are saying this because we still have a lot to do in the world of leadership. We still have many barriers to break. We have many stereotypes. So not all figures are equal at a European level. So your sector is one of those where we are changing faster, and we see more and more women leading tech companies. But we need to continue working in this direction to reach gender equality in all companies, and you need to lead the example for other sectors. So each and all of you in the room, you have already become a big reference, and all women here are changing our society from the very beginning, from the very moment when you decided to do this. So you are pioneers, and you're a great example. You're the model to follow, especially for girls, for young girls who can see in you their next future, and especially for the whole society, so that we can eliminate stereotypes. It is you who is changing society. You are breaking the walls and the so often called glass ceiling, so that we can break this barrier. Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes. Bueno, como es evidente, no soy Soledad Murillo.
Good evening. So me, I'm not Soledad Murillo, the State Secretary of Equality. I would like to excuse her, but unfortunately she cannot be with us today because she's working out of Spain. But she has offered me the opportunity. I am the first woman, the director of the National Telecommunications Institute. So she has asked me to represent her today. Also an entrepreneur woman in Spain and in Latin America. So I'm very honored to be here with you, and it is amazing to be with you in this movement for inspiring women leaders in the digital era. We are constructing a new society, a new digital era governed for people. As you know, there are few women in Spain and in the rest of the world who are entrepreneurs and who are leading digitalization. We've already had some figures related to this, to employment and the use of internet and the creation of corporates, especially startups, and the programming of algorithms, and also for the registry of patents, for example. So we can be clear that there is a big deficit in women in these fields. And this affects women also since they are very young. And the most inspiring field where we need to work more is especially in the new technologies, in the digital era, because we are changing all the dimensions of human life. So all of you pioneers, you are working a lot in this direction, and you do have the energy to change the situation because you are accelerating these companies and these technology projects, and you are accelerating the social and economic change. Honestly, I truly believe that we cannot wait another 100 years or 170 years, as the World Economic Forum says that we need to wait to live in equality. So we know that the process of change are not linear, so we can win time and do it quicker using some very powerful leverages. And you are the very first leverage. Your energy and your capacity to naturally combine this approach of the new technologies with welfare and with ethics. I know you have a very busy agenda every week. I know you work a lot, very hard to change this reality. So after all, you are opening new spaces for a holistic approach where we can create the new innovation for the future. You are leading a movement which needs to be empowered by women who study and work in education, in health, in arts, in services, in culture, in environmental protection, in human resources, so that we can construct the new group of qualified women talent to transform the world digitally. We need more humanism in technology. We need to approach this with this powerful group of women, because you understand that we need to move forward with entrepreneurship, and also, of course, with the men who support us. The third leverage are the public institutions and the corporates. And the good news here is that in both cases, we are working hard with this new challenge. We are more and more aware that we need to achieve this positive digital transformation for the economy and for the society. We have AI and all the new companies. And thanks to this, we can accelerate equality in the digital era. Also, we need to work in collaboration for a quantic leverage. We need to go hand in hand so we can work faster. Our teams of women, families, institutions, and corporates, only together we can build a new ecosystem with entrepreneurship, digitalization, talent, and breakthrough equality to benefit the people. And today we have here the best of all examples. So now I would like to express my gratitude to Teresa Alarcos from the team of W Startup Community, and to all the network of companies and allied companies creating this forum so that we can inspire ourselves, we can lead the change. And as we say in our conference, we need to construct the new group of women, inspiring women leaders in the digital era. So from our positions, we cannot only mention the deficit, because we have an excess of abilities. We do not have a deficit in this. So we need to continue working very hard in this line. So in all places where we are in our positions, and we need to be more and more leading those positions. So thank you very much. I wish you great success and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes a todas y a todos.
Good evening. Nerea Luis is my name. I'm the co-founder of Tech Festival. And I'm honored to be the first one to start the first panel. So I would like to welcome next Rosa. Big applause, please. Applause, please. She is the CEO of Naturgy in EMEA. So thank you very much for being here in the audience, because you're a great inspiration for us, the young generation. I'm a millennial myself. So I would like to remind you over there, we have the hashtags on the screen. W and Inspiring Women Leaders. So we want to become a trending topic. So thank you very much. So next we have Rosa.
Muchas gracias, Nerea.
Thank you so much, Nerea. My name is Rosa Sanz. I don't have the time to speak to you before, so I'll be very, very quick. I've been working in the energy sector for 25 years, and 85% of my work consisted in implementing technology to the different business lines where I was working. And I was working with two different angles or points of view. I was working first on with the point of view of the business, having always a balanced results with technology to improve the products and to improve the processes, but also to open new business lines. But also I was lucky to work on the point of view of the corporate. This was implementing and fostering innovation within the corporate, and very much with the approach of working with the whole digital environment and with the different ecosystems around the big corporates, and especially focusing on the people, on talent, because these are the driver of this technology, of this breakthrough technology. So I'm extremely happy to open the first panel with 8 amazing experts. And we've been asked to be very, very strict with time. So please, I will ask you to be very, very strict. We have very few minutes. So we have a common question for all of us, for all of you. So can you please highlight what would be the disruptive or breakthrough technology you have implemented in your corporate? And maybe you can share with us some KPIs. Thank you. We will have first Lola Alejandro. She's the IT director at Procter & Gamble. Thank you so much, Rosa. Never before in history we have had such a big disruption or breakthrough from the demographic, technology, and social point of view, and also with new business models. At Procter & Gamble, as a global consumption company, we work a lot to focus on our customers. So we have, I'm going to mention what we're working on. We're working especially on improving the way in which we trade with or interact with our clients, and also the way in which we sell the products, and also the way in which we communicate with consumers, and how we attract talent and culture. Samantha, for example, Samantha is a bot we have with AI. We have developed to combine the millions of data we have at P&G. And also we use it to have better offers to our clients and consumers. So our bot, Samantha, has 3 levels of algorithms. I will not go much into detail about this, but this allows us to codify the minds of our analysts. This does not mean by far that we are replacing our analysts, but Samantha is helping us to analyze things within just minutes. Before, we would have to work very hard for months. So now our staff have in their hands the data they need to improve our offer and to make our consumers' life easier. And the biggest challenge we had to develop Samantha was culture. We have 4 different generations within our corporate, and changing the way in which we think at our corporate and changing the digital fluency or the digital flow was difficult, and that was the challenge. So now the attracting new talent, new women with this new data science mindset has been very difficult. And what really helped us for this was to participate in events like this. So thank you very much, Teresa, for inviting us, because this has helped us to disseminate our message. so that we can attract those highly talented women. Last year, we reached 75% score of recruitment in the south of Europe. So thank you very much.
Pilar Troncoso, que es cofundadora de Chiango Tech, de OAR.
Pilar Troncoso, who is the co-founder of Nodal Block. Thank you so much. I started some startups, always based on blockchain technology. We were even disruptive in all the startups we've participated. We have Jingle Tech with different KPIs for logistics chain management. And as for the KPIs, thanks to CalLab and all the accelerators who have helped us, we have become more and more efficient. We have been reducing costs by 80% reduction of cost, and this we can prove, ladies and gentlemen. And Nodal Block, we changed our name 2 days ago. Now it's called AORO. Here we work with Logic's security, especially to certify processes, in different ways. So we are working here on disruption, in innovation. So innovation means improving the current processes and finding new efficiencies, because in new corporates use this in order to discover and to measure those KPIs, because disruption is very complicated to measure. And this is something that is really happening. So also today, just today, that we now have new investors. So we are going to now be investing in new AI processes with blockchain technology. So thank you very much for inviting us here, Teresa. And thank you to all the startups here and to all the women who are here with us. Thank you so much.
Enhorabuena, Pilar. Alberto Gómez Toribio, que es especialista.
Alberto Gómez Toribio is expert in Bankia about blockchain. Good evening. I work at Bankia in blockchain. I work in developing the strategy of this technology in our bank. I've worked with different financial institutions. I had a startup with Bankinter in 2015. It was a big adventure. I've also worked with different banks as clients. So now I'm working in the strategy of open innovation and how to work with technologies such as blockchain. Open innovation is one of the ways in which companies are creating new products. This is about allowing others to create value about what you are, around what you are. If it's a bank, this is opening APIs or allowing this technology for others, for third parties, to create products which are linked on your corporate. Creating something with blockchain was something complex. So something we thought about was to create a platform such as the chassis of a car, so they can evolve towards a private car or a truck, and this would, or a van. This would allow you to have 80% of what you need for when you use, for example, cryptocurrency. So we now have a platform at Bankia so that our clients can explore their opportunities. So we are a technology provider, and this is something sort of weird because normally banks do not distribute software. And we're doing this for free because we want to observe those new products. We want to learn from the financial needs of these projects who are working with tokens in cryptocurrencies to see how they have their debts and the participations in those societies, in those corporates. And also, for example, when in the case of Marvel, we're also working with Marvel or Disney. So we are working on many beautiful projects. So this is a very interesting strategy, and blockchain has proven to be very useful for these purposes. This has allowed us to be part of many projects which we would have never dreamt of. And we are now also exploring blockchain technology so that we can have a lower risk, because our platform is free and it is designed for our clients to deploy it in their own servers automatically. So through this, we have a smaller risk. We are just observing, we are learning from the financial needs of those projects, and as such, we try to adapt our product portfolio to cover these new needs. So this is our experience at Bankia. So thank you very much for allowing me the time. Thank you. I know it's a big challenge for you to stick to 2 minutes. So now for the next member, Eduvigis Ortiz, Strategic Alliances leader at SAS. Yeah, I know I have to be shorter than 2 minutes. I'll do my best. I promise. Because we have so many inspiring women to talk after us. So we need technology to change the world. And there's something we need to communicate to the youth. So we need to work with this opportunity, in these opportunities at this fora. We need to take the chance to disseminate our message. I know all of you do. I know all of you work in this very line. I've been working in the past few years in the field of cybersecurity and advanced analytics. So these are my two passions. I know I've always been one of the few women. I've been an industrial engineer. And since the very beginning at college, I was one of the few women studying engineering. So now I'm very empowered, as you very often hear in these type of conferences, because the data or advanced analytics, this is what helps us to create these disruptions. This helps us to understand all these huge big data, to learn from all the interactions we have on a daily basis. And with this advanced analytics, we can have cases of use to optimize and to take advantage from all the business processes, and it helps us to become more efficient and to save costs. Recently, we've been working on a project where a client has increased the precision of their forecast of their demand, and by this, they were able to save millions of euro just by improving their forecast for their demand. So this is a new jewel we've discovered, and here we need to apply intelligence. But data as such are nothing. We need the analytics in order to explode this knowledge and to know more about our business and to make the most out of this. So that will be all from my side, so that we are not running out of time. Thank you.
Damos la palabra.
So now we will give the word to Sandra, the Innovation Director from Endesa. Good afternoon. I'm not here to talk about any particular disruptive technology, because our organization is already 20 years old. The word was coined 20 years ago. So what I'm going to talk about is a fascinating project for me. And I think that it's in all of our minds this week, and it has a lot to do with climate change. Climate change, the reduction of CO2 emissions. In Endesa, we have proposed to help electrify and to help to aid climate change. So we have invested 56 million euros in different recharge points in public places so that all of us will be able to have electric cars. By 2023, we aim to install 108,000 of these. So this way, all of us will become active actors in this this change of the future world. And in order for this to be viable, because we've said that technology is changing the world, IoT is fundamental in this regard. Charging stations. So cars, all of this has to work without a problem. And without IoT technology, this will not work. So this works especially well when you join technologies together. An IoT and a data analyst, AI. Now this will all allow us to know what the behavior of our customers is, what is the best place to put a charging station. When somebody is telling me I have to go to somewhere. So that's why I think that all this technology will help us to answer to what our children are demanding. Either we do something right now or they will never forgive us. So we really have to work in order to save our planet.
Muchas gracias. Nuria Ábalos, que es directora de blockchains y automatización.
Now we're going to give the floor to the director of blockchains and working at Repsol. So I am going to talk about disruptive technology. So in our disruptive technology program in Repsol, there is a part where we talk about experimenting and trying out with these new disruptive technologies. But from the point of view of, from the point of view of identifying how we are able to streamline our projects and our operations. Pilar mentioned the word efficiency before, which is very important for our corporations. How to make everything more secure, and in turn, improve the life and our jobs, and the way we work. So with disruptive technology, we're working with drones, with augmented reality, blockchain technology. We're also working with robotics, biometrics. So we are currently working with several projects, because we have many ongoing at the same time, and we have identified over 60 initiatives with all the tasks that we've been carrying out. We've done around 11 tests, and some are evolving to a very tangible project. So I think that's very impressive results. So just to name one of these projects, we're using drones in order to identify corrosion in our pipelines. And after that, we use AI algorithms in order to process the images that we receive. So this type of tests is not just using drones, but using it in order to streamline the maintenance in our installations. So there are a lot of people that work in Alastria. But we are busy forming a network of blockchains with different companies in order to form a network of providers. Now we want to streamline a lot of different processes that will benefit us all, as well as the providers. Thank you.
Damos el paso a Montse Guardia, que es directora general de Alastria.
I'll give the floor to Montse Guardia, the general manager of Alastria. It's quite a challenge with the time limit. So I'm asking all of you to visit our website. It's a little hard to explain, but what makes us human, and technology being a tool that is with disruptive technology. And what we are seeing is that we are about to converge into a key moment where technology will be so fundamental in all of our lives, where we'll be able to create a network of knowledge that goes much beyond, much further than the mere human part. So the information that so I'm sure that our colleagues from the data analytics know a lot about this, is that when we talk about knowledge, when you emphasize it, that becomes into more knowledge. So we have to work to a...
Solo es posible y solo será posible si somos capaces de trabajar en la complejidad.
And for this, we need to work on complexity. Complexity is human. We need to converge the use of technology so that we can be more humane. And we need to establish this network of digital knowledge in a digital world. And this is why today we're doing something complex. This is interconnecting all of us. We come from different worlds, from different environments, and today we are converging this event thanks to Teresa and her team so that we can do something simple. This is being more wise. So I would like to encourage you to come with us to Malaga, the 11th and 12th and the 13th of November. We will host a world event. It will be Converges. It is a global blockchain conference. We're working from Alastria with the European Commission, also with our colleagues, with another association. This is a group of different associations, and this is to converge technology in a global world, in a world of everyone. Technology is not just for the former IT scientists. So now we're simplifying what is complex. Thank you so much.
Flor de Esteban, que es socia responsable de Deloitte Digital, por favor.
Bueno, yo voy a coger muchas de las cosas que vosotros habéis dicho.
So next, Flor de Esteban from IA partner at Deloitte. At Deloitte, we help our clients to transform themselves in a very complex environment. For this, we need innovation, technology, and talent. These three elements combined help us to have talent, and we need female talent. We have teams working in blockchain, in AI, and cybersecurity, IoT, doing concept tests, and different pilot projects for higher security and for reaching the clients better. We work in all this with many women. And in our AI teams, we have many more women than men. And for us, data are our source of energy. So we need to take advantage of this data. And as you mentioned before, Monse, not just the technology, as you mentioned, of course, we would like working with technology, but also we need to be able to link this to the legal aspects with the risks and to the regulations. Obviously, it is not just technology, it is also a matter of people. So we need to create a better world. So at Deloitte, we're working a lot for this with loads of women. Thank you.
Nada. Yo creo que muchas gracias a todas por compartir casos de éxito de cómo se integra la tecnología en las empresas. Solo me gustaría dejar una idea en el aire. Hemos compartido casos de éxitos. La innovación.
So innovation is also very much linked to failure, of course. So at some point, we need to also be able to share experiences of failure on how we have detected failures as soon as possible. We have learned from that, and we have come back to business, and then we have learned a lot from that. Maybe we'll discuss that next time. So now, conclusions very briefly. We are talking about technology and integration and interaction. You have been discussing about a scenario for the future. This is about transforming our corporates, and there's something we can highlight. We have been discussing about different technologies, bots, and cybersecurity, AI. Each of you have mentioned different technologies from your sector, from your strategy, and this is important. But you all share something. This is creating value, creating growth. And the third element is that the goal is not technology, and you all said this. The goal here is very clear to you. You have plans of development, you have a strategy, and you have the business. So thank you very much for all your comments, because it should help us to stop being afraid of implementing new things, new disruptive technology. So thank you so much.
Damos paso a la segunda mesa.
Next, we will have the next panel with Gemma García. Thank you.
Hola, no soy Nuria Oliver.
So I'm not Nuria Oliver. She cannot be, she had to go, so she's asked me to present the next panel. So on her behalf, I will start the next panel with Gemma Garcia, who is Senior Investment Manager and Corporate Venturing at Repsol. Thank you so much.
Un aplauso.
Bueno, muchas gracias a la organización y a Teresa en particular por...
Thank you so much to the organization and to Teresa for inviting me to participate another year in this event. I really love being here. I love this round table with entrepreneurs because we work a lot with entrepreneurs and we learn a lot to integrate new business to our business models at Repsol. So it's amazing to work with you guys. You will have to stick to the time, so we will not do a round of applause after every speaker, right? So we will do this at the very end. So we only have 2 minutes for one of each of you, right? We have 2 questions. Why did you become an entrepreneur? And what is the business model? What are the challenges we are now facing? So Ana Perez, she's the co-founder of Cana Drones. Thank you. Good evening. Just very briefly, at Cana Drones, we are a startup doing inspection, especially for ports and airports, using drones. So at the airports, we have a system to assist the pilots in case of an emergency landing. So we have developed a solution to do this inspection, which is compulsory, and so we do it with drones. Until this, airports will only do this with planes with their crew, so it was very expensive to do the prospections and inspections. So now we have improved a lot the aerospace safety. We are operating now in Spain and in France, and I'm an aeronautics engineer. I think I had this entrepreneurship inside of myself since I was very young. So after I finished college, it was very difficult to have a startup or to start a company. So I started working for Airbus CASA. So I still work there with military aircraft in very interesting projects for the European Union. And at the end, I ended up working with drones. And finally, I realized that I very much love disruptive technologies and innovation. So I was working in the R&D development at Airbus. So I try to incorporate those new technologies and also the creation of new abilities in the workers at our corporate. So I studied at the master's degree at the Instituto de Empresa IE in Spain. And I would like to encourage all of you, if you have these initiatives, to be in touch and to be part with our community. I was very clear I had to do this, whether I succeed or not with my startup, but I really wanted to do this. So this is the message. We need to take the opportunity because we will be supported by our ecosystem, which is a very positive ecosystem. And as to the challenges, I was very lucky that in my environment at the airport, this is ruled by international standards. And all the airports worldwide work in the same way. They all share the same problem because so our company can be scaled up to other countries. So we now want to grow, and we firmly believe that our solution can be good for all the airports worldwide. So we want to continue working and enjoy this journey. Thank you.
Bueno, Inés Huertas, cofundadora.
Inés Huertas is the co-founder of the Sideway project. Please. We work with wheelchairs, just to make it simple. We've patented a system which can move horizontally. With the new technologies, we try to detect obstacles in the city and detect the crossways, other streets. So now we're working with prototypes. Of course, this is sometimes a bit of a headache, but we're loving our project. So I decided to be an entrepreneur. I don't know why, really, but it's the second time I try. So I did not learn quite enough the first time, but I want to do something more from what we learned at Jesus School. I want to create, I want to construct something different. And I believe I can do it, and I have the tools that I need. So I have this feeling of freedom. You may also be insecure, but after the very beginning, then you feel really great being an entrepreneur. So for all people who are thinking of creating a company, I do encourage you to do so. It is not natural to also be scared, but of course we need to continue working, but it is worth it. Thank you so much, Ines. Maria Urbano is the co-founder and CEO of Evo Enzyme. We are a spin-off from the Institute of Research. We started working with a patent with Dr. Alcalde, who has researched the investigation based on enzymes. We learned from a chemistry Nobel Prize from 2018, and with this technology, we can modify enzymes to be more resistant for different uses, such as bioplastics and biofuels. So our biggest challenges are mainly, well, we just started now. We created the company this very year. So our first challenge is to create value for the clients and to have satisfied clients. And for this, we need to validate our value proposal so that we can learn whether what we have is adjusted to the needs of our clients. And if it is not, we need to have the capacity to modify this in a timely and economic manner for the clients to be satisfied. And I studied business studies at college, and from the very beginning, I really wanted to create my own company. So I happened to find a service which would be differentiated, and I had the chance to join a group of researchers. It was 4 researchers at the Spanish Institute CSIC. So we had the 2 goals. This was creating a company, which would be a passion for us. And for researchers, something important is to find a useful use of what we can invent. This is having the feeling that we can have an impact with our invents. So Patricia Garcia is the founder of PandaBox. Thank you so much, Teresa and the association for inviting me. I founded together with 2 other members. It is 3 women founders of PandaBox. We offer a service of online personal shopping for children. So the parents give us some information through a questionnaire, and then we link clothes for children according to what they may like, and with the budget of the parents. So with this information, we send them a surprise box. They have 5 days to decide which clothes items they want to keep and which items they want to return to the shop. So as to the why I'm an entrepreneur, I think this is because last year I was not too much aware of everything that comes with a company. For 10 years, I worked in a multinational company. I was not too sure what this was about, having a company. But from the very beginning, I had 10 years ago, one of my colleagues, a senior colleague, said, I asked him, so how are you doing? And he said, oh, well, it's another year, the same again. And I was like, well, I was a bit shocked, but after 10 years, I recalled this very sentence. So another year the same, another year the same. I do like challenges. So from the very beginning, I knew I had already learned everything I had to learn from a multinational company, so I wanted to learn more and more. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm learning every single day, ever since I had this decision. But I was not aware that challenges also come with a lot of uncertainty, bad days. So being an entrepreneur has 2 sides, but I'm really loving it. And regarding the new challenge to come, we've only been running the company for 1 year, so we have so many challenges ahead of us. It is a passionate world, but now we're lucky to almost close our first round of funding. So our first challenge now is to invest this money very well so we can accelerate our growth by increasing our team and by becoming more popular all across Spain. So this is basically what we are doing. So thank you so much, and feel free to visit our website. And if you have children, please test our service. Thank you. Next, we have Dasil Voges, the founder of Robotics Initiative. So thank you so much. We are at the foundation Click at Matters. We are learning a lot from the digital world for technology projects with a social impact. We have 3 very new projects. We are working on blockchain for document transparency for NGOs. And we're also working with AI to measure different models of ways of life with people with cancer or Chorea de Huntington, Parkinson, and Alzheimer, with the software integrated with the mobile devices. So with this, we are generating open APIs for research centers so they can have real-time information. And a third platform we have is Math for All, so that we can digitalize the cities for people with different disabilities and difficulties, like, for example, having children or dogs, for example, or with some food diseases or food difficulties, so they can find the best places in the city to enjoy leisure and any services. I became an entrepreneur ever since I started to work. It's already been 10 years. Basically because within the startups, I found a means of creating a change with the knowledge, not my knowledge because I know very little, but with all my environment within the corporate world, and by applying this to social service. So this is what we are developing in our projects. And also our biggest challenge is to manage to have the big multinationals offering their knowledge or their big abilities to generate social efficient projects so that we can have very clear goals to help our society in a timely manner. So we have we have so many environmental problems, so our planet is now cannot wait much longer, so we need to work with this mindset. Thank you very much.
No penséis que no hay hombres emprendedores. Tenemos aquí.
But just for you not to think there's no male entrepreneurs, we also have here Tony Moral, the founder of What a Fun. Good evening. I was an entrepreneur from the very beginning. I worked in football, in the football world, or soccer. I'm a football player, and for those of you who have children, you know it takes much time and also some money. So sometimes we do not spend as much time as we would like to with our children. So during my sports career, I identified a problem where I wanted to offer a solution with new technology. And here I discovered blockchain or Bitcoin. So we've created a platform for digital collections. So people can collect different stamps or different cards, football cards, and then the fans can collect them digitally, or they can sell it in a second market or over-the-counter market. So the operator here will be charging a small commission from this, so to say, stock market. And it was me when I found once a fan of me selling my signature on a piece of paper. So I thought, well, hey, this can be used for different sectors. So this was my idea with the copywriting of these collectibles, so to say. So with this, we can generate different things, different issues. So we can have a decentralized space, so where with these digital cards can be exchanged in this over-the-counter market, being protected with the creators of this content and also protecting also the consumers. Thank you so much. Gabriela Orile is the co-founder and CEO of My Investor. So I started writing websites when I was 18, but at the end I did join a company. But since my very beginning, I started creating things. And now what I do is something very interesting and where I work now, well, you know, business models are changing. There is a big disruption on the financial sector. We have more and more new players, and they are more and more amazing for the user experience. You know, we have the big data, but experience is what will give us the useful data. Only if the user has a good experience will give us their data, so we can grow with the clients. We've discussed digital transformation, and this is a very big issue. So I believe that people transform themselves, and it is people who are digitalizing, and this leads to time consumption. And speed of the time is one of the new drivers. When we do not have enough time to transform the big things. So we started from the scratch, so that we can be at my investor. We want to be a new bank. So now this is a new reality, a new brand. So we have bank accounts with a Spanish IBAN number, with no commissions for the users. We are specialists in private banking, and you can also find investment funds from the competitors. And we also offer mortgages, very easy mortgages, and not forcing people to also have life insurance and many other products, which the traditional banks do force you to have. So we are very adapted to this philosophy of fintechs. Before we heard from Bankia that core banking is no longer a business. Now for core banking, you need to link it to many services to attract these clients to offer this experience. So we also need to attract clients. Now we are many people. We're working a lot in UI and big data and fintech. We believe fintechs are our allies. We don't need to be scared of them. So as Julia explained, with our conversational bot, and this also calculates the mortgages and everything, so this can be calculated very quickly. She just went to Shanghai with Elon Musk to work on an AI project. So we want to be a bank growing with you. So my investor is a new robot advisor, turning into a bank with all the different layers. And this we made just because we are very fast in what we do. So this is what we need to try to work, because being fast will allow us to survive. Thank you. And finally, we have Niobe Alonso, founder for Lines. Thank you so much. So me, I decided to be an entrepreneur because I like freedom. I want to decide on my own life, and I like challenges. And the biggest challenge can be starting your own company. So our biggest difficulty was to be able to explain what we do. We are an industry design company with prototypes. We work with IoT. But what does this mean? This translates into turning ideas into something you can touch. This could be, for example, let's say a trophy. The trophies of today's ceremony have been developed by us. And also, we have created pieces for water and systems, also for food industry. We've created all type of things. So if you have anything in your mind which can be touched, we can help you to develop it and to turn it into reality. And also, our challenge for the future is to bring our own projects to the market. One of those we have in mind, we're trying to work on, but it's a bit of complex. This is a piece. It is an IoT integrated pillbox for the elderly so that they know when to take the right pill at the right time. So this is what we do. Thank you so much.
Antes del aplauso, por resumir, creo que
Before your round of applause, I can say that we have amazing stories here. All of them are very different, but we have many people with a great experience in the corporate world. Some of you are younger. From the very beginning, you are an entrepreneur. So from here, I would like to wish you the biggest of the success. So a big round of applause for them now. Thank you.
y damos paso a la tercera.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Good evening. Next, on behalf of the Círculo de Empresarios, this is Entrepreneurial Circle. This is a space for thought and for a social corporate responsibility. We aim at helping Spanish corporates and to promote the free trade market and to offer a social recognition of the entrepreneurs. One of the main lines of work is to help increase the size of the Spanish corporates. As an average, Spanish companies are smaller than the average in Europe, and this is a disadvantage to compete, because size does matter. It matters to innovate, it matters to face digitalization processes, and it is important also to face different internationalization projects. So from our association, we try to work with the administration to ease the access to the smaller companies. And we participate in many initiatives, many ideas. And one of those is the project Creciendo. We did it together with Bankinter and the Spanish Institute of Exports, ICEX. And here we're helping a lot with strategic coaching so that these companies can take this step to become a big company. And on top of these changes in regulation, which may happen in the future depending on the politicians, we believe that entrepreneurs need to be very aware that it is necessary to move out of their comfort zone and to face technology challenges as new challenges and with the new opportunities we have. If we continue doing things as we used to, this can no longer be done. We need to change. Álvarez Payete, just today, he said that we are not facing a need of change, but we are not changing our era. So I'm very happy to be here with you to present the third panel named Thinking Local. This will be chaired by Cristina Gerakitis from the Singularity University Chapter Australia.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Cristina, and that's two more Spanish.
Good evening, my name is Cristina. That's everything I can say in English.
Gracias to Teresa and her team for dreaming and maximising impact for women in tech through W Startup Community. I will also ask you to save your applause until all the panellists have spoken, and I'm not even going to say their titles. I'll refer you to the screen up here to find out a little bit more about them. So straight into it, Laura Hoechlin. You're from the US Embassy, and we've got lots of empirical research that shows that there is a gender imbalance in certain fields. What does the research suggest in order for us to get gender parity?
Thank you so much, Christina. It's great to see you again this year. I would refer all of you to a landmark study that's been done for the last 4 years in the United States by McKinsey & Company together with leanin.org. Over the last 4 years, they've looked at 462 different companies that employ nearly 20 million people in the United States only. And they found that women remain underrepresented at all levels of these organizations, and that change has not happened from the first year they started the study in 2015 to the last results in 2018. There are a few key takeaways that McKinsey recommends to all organizations in order to achieve gender parity. The first is to focus on the basics, on reporting, on accountability, and on targets, setting meaningful targets for the organization. The second is that there needs to be fairness in hiring and promotion in all organizations. And the third main recommendation is that senior leadership of the company needs to be committed to diversity. There are two other tips that they give that the data bears out over the course of the last 4 years. And that's if an organization has an inclusive culture, and the second one, if it allows flexibility to all of its workers. Those are two things that really do lead to change in the numbers, to moving the needle, to that empirical change in an organization.
Thank you, and it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. As women, we want to have impact. We want to make a difference. And for us, it's time to connect and collaborate and to work together and have that exponential impact on women in the startup community. Nuria, we grow up thinking that for most part, men have invented everything. We also need to let our children know about the female pioneers. This is something that's important to you, so can you share the why behind that with the audience?
Okay, I beg your pardon because my English is not as good as as yours, but I'll do my best. Okay, think about it. You're a girl, you're 10 or 12 years old, and all the textbooks are talking to you about inventors are Edison, Franklin, Gutenberg, and a lot of men, but no one woman. No women in textbook inventing nothing at all. So you are, as a girl, you think, okay, maybe inventions are for men, not for me. So I don't want to be the first one because it's really hard to be the first. And I'm trying to, okay, not only me, I belong to a movement for trying to rescue the names of that pioneers, that women who invent a lot of things that are disappearing in textbook. Maybe do you know that foldable umbrella was invented by a woman? Not a woman, but the name. She was Beulah Louise Henry. It's not a woman, the name also. Or the wireless connection, you know, was Hedy Lamarr. But children, girls, they don't know. And sometimes the models we provide to them are really brilliant and sharp brain. And maybe that can scare the girls. Why not that model can be near and close models? Your neighbor, the mother of your classmate, or the grandma or your classmate, a real model, they can be, okay, I know you and you're walking with me in my street, not a woman from the NASA or, you know. So I'm trying to rescue that name, that close and proper names for my girls in Catalonia or in Spain, and I think that could be a nice activity for improving the recruitment talent, the feminine recruitment talent for technology.
Fantastic, and it's so true. If we've got somebody to look up to, it's an awesome thing to have a role model. Irene, Panama, the second country in Latin America to guarantee that women have a place in government and organisations. Fantastic. How did this come about?
Okay, thank you. Well, I am one of the speakers that Teresa was talking about early on that travel like 10 hours to be here. Because, you know, I did it because who doesn't love a good challenge? You have to select one topic among all the topics that you can talk about and talk about it like for 2 minutes or less and do it in English. So, but what I want to share is so important for us in Panama because it's working. And I want to talk to you about a collaboration, a high-level collaboration between governments and the private sector that is working already in Chile, lately in Panama, at some level in Argentina, and there is like a domino thing going on in Latin America because it will be working also in Peru and in Dominican Republic. I'd like to talk about the Gender Parity Task Force. IPG is the name in Spanish, Iniciativa de Paridad de Género. And I'm coming from a place called the City of Knowledge, and I'm going to let you know later on, in less than 2 minutes, why it's important. City of Knowledge is a place of innovation for social change. We transform what it used to be a military base in a place of innovation, social change, networking, and collaboration. And I'm going to tell you why that matters. The IPG is a high-level public-private initiative. We have been working with the IDB and the World Economic Forum to identify and prevent the reasons why women do not have the same opportunities as men in the job force. At the City of Knowledge, we have a board. It's like 30 people with less than 2 women. And I mention this because in Panama and in the region, this is one of the most advanced initiatives. And because we are bringing this topic, the gender equality issue, to the table, we were able to change the law, the City of Knowledge law, and now we are working towards the 30%, which is not the ideal, but we're working on that to be the 30, like around the 30%. And let me tell you, this is a policy that allows different sectors to talk about this problem. And also, in forum like this, when we were talking about gender equality, what happened is that if the law doesn't work, if the policy doesn't work, public shame does. And what happened with the City of Knowledge is that we will call, like in a public event, you were talking about innovation, you were talking about equality, but what about your board? Because sometimes executives believe that because they appoint a woman as a CEO or as a deputy, that's okay, and the board can remain all male. So because of these conversations, because of this table, because of this high-level agenda, we have been working to change the way the NGOs, the business, and the government is working. People are more aware, the gaps are reducing, and equal terms are bringing to the table. And for the first time in Panama, a representative from all sectors are talking about.
That's fantastic, wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, well, in Spanish I can't, do 2 minutes,
yeah.
but
thank you so
remember
much.
The name, Iniciativa de Paridad de Género.
Thank you. Anu, policies can be box-ticking exercises. I know that often there's a lot of talking and less walking the talk. How effective are the policies that are being instigated in South Africa?
I think I'll begin with a few fast facts. So the South African population is approximately 50-50 split between male and female. When I turned 18, I didn't have the right to vote. And it's been 25 years since I've had that right. In the early 2000s, post equality in South Africa, there was policy introduced to redress some of the inequalities of the past. And a key pillar of that was something called Black Economic Empowerment, which also included women, but they also fell under the general basket of being black in terms of the definition. Fast forward to today, 25 years on, there is one female CEO of a JSE-listed company. Not much has changed. So that 50-50 demographic is not representative in the South African corporate world. And I see what happens is that the overall of the policies has taken place to put a lot of pressure on companies from a policy standpoint to be able to deliver and to change the gender imbalance in the corporates. However, what I find is that there's a recycling of the same talent, the same women move around, largely in some of the softer areas. So while I see a bunch of women doing absolutely amazing stuff, brilliant women doing technologically advanced, initiatives, we don't see that in our businesses. Women are tended to be in the softer areas, if I could put it that way. Not that it's any less value, but you will not find them in the core parts of technology businesses. So I think that there are a number of things that can be done and should be done, and to begin with, introduce women to tech earlier, otherwise we will be further left behind in the fourth industrial revolution. And I think, companies really need to revisit the way they recruit and promote from internally, so that you develop a pipeline of female talent in your organization that ultimately go up to lead these organizations.
Thank you. Sophia, how do you see the future of women in Spain and indeed globally in tech and digital?
Valladolid Chamber of Commerce is digital leader, excuse me, is a regional leader in digitalization, blockchain, and has opened the new eco to promote women's digital talent in Spain. Thank you very much for inviting us, Teresa. Many jobs will disappear, will be replaced by machines, by digitalization, and the strategy of the enterprise will be the share for talent. And this is a great opportunity. This is a great news. Based on my experience, in my point of view, the only possible discrimination in the workplace will be based on talent. Talent will match men and women's. Talent does not understand gender, race, or language. If any of you will steal your talent, please take a step forward. I would to finish with the tip: digitalization and talent have to go hand in hand. You're not only born with talent, talent becomes how? Training. I think is the best decision. Thank you very much, Christina.
Thank you. Margaret, we've seen the transformation of Asian women from the family woman to an industrial leader. What are the qualities, do you think, that have made this transition successful for women in the Asian market?
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa, for again inviting me. I want to share two things. First, I want to tell everybody that 4 years ago, we set up a platform. It's called China-Spain Innovation and Ventures. We bring very mature projects to China, and I'm very happy to be here because I heard lots of very, very successful projects. So if it is matured enough, if you want to access China market, and you can talk to us. So this is one thing, and we did last year a very important competition in collaboration with this organization that some of the projects, when I just heard the Carnard drones, which is one of the award-winning projects of our competition. And then second, I really want to bring important data to this panel that I read one very credible statistic report, both 2018 and 2019, in the first, let's say the richest self-made women in the world, which is, we refer to more than 1,000 million, let's say $1 billion level. there are, this year will be, it's 89, and in which 51 are Chinese women. And comparatively, in the first, the list of the men, only 30% of Chinese men. So I don't think it is important, the numbers. But what I want to say is women really can do, big things. And we all have very vivid image of Chinese women, very family-oriented, very, let's say, introvert women. But now this is changing. And I'm very happy, just to share this with you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very confidence building as well. Yanire, Chile and Colombia have got high numbers of female entrepreneurs. We know structures and processes are very important in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. What have you seen the effect of this in the Americas?
Well, I want to say, first of all, that I'm the second person in this panel that I came all the way from Washington, D.C., so United States, to be here with you. So thank you so much. So I contributed to the number of miles that of the people that came. I stopped in Bilbao because I'm originally from Bilbao. I have a baby, which is less than 1 year. So I left the baby with my mom, and I came here. So today, and I leave tonight because I have a baby at home. So I'm very committed. One of the reasons that I came here is because I'm really committed to entrepreneurship. I'm really committed to women and female entrepreneurship. I'm really committed to women empowerment. And that's why I came here, because I really believe that we need to build partnerships. We need to find synergies. And I have a few questions. So the first one is this a trending topic? Are we really serious about this? Because if so, people like Conchita, that I know her for a while, and Irene, and a lot of people that are here, that I know I have a lot of faces that I know that we have been working hard for more than 15 years supporting women and female entrepreneurship. And that's why I think that we need to find synergies, build partnerships with the people that are now starting, and among all of us, because sometimes we see new things, but we don't appreciate all, or we don't appreciate new things. For that reason, I just want to add one thing. Diversity is a fact. Inclusion is an option. So I encourage you to include not only men in these topics, but also different perspectives, different business, and also different people that we were working for so long with new people that are doing amazing things. And also working together, male, women, and not only here in Spain, but also in the United States and in Latin America. In order to answer to your question, I'm working in the Americas region, and I see in the United States there are so many initiatives. In Latin America, Chile and Colombia, they have the highest number of female entrepreneurship in the world after Uganda, after Africa. So if we have here in Spain that the rate is not so high, but we have a lot of initiatives. In the United States, we have plenty of initiatives, and the need maybe is in other countries. Let's find a way to build synergies and to build synergies with a business orientation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Diversity and inclusion. Conchita, data is important because it gives us information to act on. How's data affected what you do in Spain?
Yeah, so I'm a data freak because I'm an economist by training, so I'm a total nerd, you bear with me. And I just want to share some numbers here to convey, a more like true image of what the gender balance is in Spain when it comes to entrepreneurship. So if you look at the latest Global Entrepreneurship Monitor in Spain, I'm giving Spanish data, actually, the breach is not that big. Of all the entrepreneurial activity, 53% is male-driven, and 47% is women. So actually, we're almost there, right, in terms of how much we start up. It is not true that women don't start up. It has improved over the years. The breach was greater before. And this number, by the way, is higher than the European average and lower than the Latin American average, which is something else that I don't know if everybody in the room knows. But when we look into data from the South Summit applications, you know, South Summit is the biggest conference in the Southern Hemisphere, receiving thousands of applications from entrepreneurs, from high-growth entrepreneurs from all around the world. And they do every year what they call the entrepreneurship map, based on information from their applications. So when we look into data from applicants from Spain, we only see 19% of women applicants. And when all of the applicants are asked, do you have women in your team, in your founding team, among your co-founders, 40% do have females, do have women among their founding members, which basically means female startup almost as much as men do. Their level of ambition is still a little bit lower than that of men, but they don't take the spotlight. These 40% who have female founding members did not choose the woman as the face of the team to apply to the South Summit. And the other interesting element is that of all the single member projects, so only one founder, 60% are women, only 40% are men. So I don't see, or the data does not show that we start up less than men, but we do so away from the spotlight, and we do so lonelier. And I do think these are two things we must be working on.
Which is very much related back to the role modelling that we heard earlier.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Jayan, the gender gap in technology in the UK is huge. Can you share with us what's being done to address that, which was quite surprising for me actually to know that the gender gap was that big?
So in the UK, well, the UK government has actually called it the most pressing issue at present, which is saying something considering that we actually have Brexit going on in the UK. So a couple of statistics. The UK's Chartered Institute of IT has stated that only of IT specialists, only 17% are women, and only 1 in 10 girls are studying computer sciences at A level, which is like our baccalaureate equivalent, basically. Recognizing this, in 2017, a group of large companies got together to create the Tech Talent Charter, which currently has 125 signatories who are signed up. Basically, their focus is on increasing gender diversity. 36% of them actually have policies in place to address this issue. And it's a UK government-supported initiative, so it was actually written into the UK data policy in 2017. And the fact that it is a government focus just shows the importance of gender diversity to driving the economy. For those of us who are finding data solutions for problems for society at large, it only makes sense that you therefore have women also being part of the building of those technological problems. And it's actually been empirically proven that gender diversity just makes good business sense. If you look from a sustainable finance perspective, which is a domain that I actually specifically come from, E, S, and G, so the environmental, social, and governance, so the G, the governance, so shareholders and civil society are looking at, what percentage of women make up company boards, senior management, and if you're looking to run a business these days, how do you expect to run a successful and sustainable business? So sustainable meaning, on a business as usual for the long-term perspective. If you don't reflect the society within which you operate, the answer is that you can't. You're going to get left behind. So the challenge really, I'll leave you with the thought of each one of us in this room, how can we each individually positively impact the gender equation?
Thank you. So what is it that you can do when you leave the venue this evening? Who can you have a conversation with? What can you do to ensure that there is impact and that we get more diversity, more inclusion at the end of this event? So thank you. Please thank the panelists. And please welcome Maria Parga, President of Illustria DG BME, to introduce the next panel. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much. It is a great honor for me to be here with you today, presenting the next panel and creating. This is looking for value. Illustria is the company groups of blockchain. We have over 500 companies and associations working together. We are big, middle-sized, small, and startup-sized companies and SMEs together with universities and with the public administration. We came together working in a collaborative manner. Together, we are constructing a new ecosystem and a new network. We are creating new international groups, and we have been co-founding the LAC chain. This is the company group for Latin America, and also in AGBA. It's been 2 years, and this panel is very important because now we need investment. I would like to call upon all women investors who are listening, following us all across the world, to come here to invest in Spain in this huge number of startups which are being developed around our blockchain technology. We have here a big panel of experts who will discuss the problems they have, because obviously there is money, but they will tell us about what problems they find when they need investing or funding, and also for the startups of women. Investors invest less in women-driven startups. However, these startups by women are more profitable as an average. So it will be important to hear why this happens or what tools they need. And so we will see how we can change this. So next we have Sandra Martin. She's the co-founder of a W Startup Community. So congratulations to Teresa and to this initiative, and she will moderate the next panel. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Good afternoon. We're going to try to make this as quickly as possible because we've been dragging this out a little bit too long in the previous panel. So as an introduction, I would like to talk about investment. The investment of talent is incredibly important. Being an entrepreneur but without movement is not the same thing. So we have a lot of different profiles among us. We have academics, and we have experts who will be able to explain how we attract or how to live in this new digital era. And from an entrepreneur point of view, what attracts the most type of the diversification. So the first speaker will be Eva Monroy from please try to keep it at 2 minutes. So thank you, first of all, for having invited me. Thank you for having created this gathering between colleagues and friends. So if I were to summarize my presentation, because it's a little hard to get a woman to speak only in 2 minutes. So I work in the advisory committee for minority shareholders in Repsol. So our advisory committee is disruptive. Nobody in the IBEX 35 has this except for CaixaBank and Repsol. So we have the communication between the shareholders and the company. I also work in a consultancy agency called ABT Spanish Desk. And we are in turn strategic partners for one of the biggest Spanish funds. And we invest in IDD. And I'm going to repeat something I already said before to Sandra, and it's something disruptive, I believe. We currently have 380 million euros in our accounts. We only have 35 projects, and they are worth that amount of money. I don't know what I have to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to hand out cards, if we're supposed to research or investigate something. I'm not sure what's going on. So perhaps you can tell me what we should do, my colleagues around me. I really don't know what's going on. I don't know if there is fear, if there is a lack of training. I tend to say that I feel like a mother from another century because all I do is listen. I am listening to all of you, but I'm still quite confused. I don't know if we're missing training or education when it comes to setting up a strategic plan. There are ideas, but we need to channel and make the most out of them. We need to be calm. So I was asking Sandra, what surprises you the most of entrepreneurs? Well, in my case, I need them to listen. Listening is incredibly important. You need to know what the market says. You need to know what needs need to be covered. And based on that, we start working, and working fast. Now, we work with CapEx. We don't touch upon corporate government. And I want to talk about 3 cases. The first is a digital platform. And this is interesting because what the founder does, take all the negative cases of R&D and publishes them. So when somebody visits only the success is published. They only publish the failures, not successes. So that is the first thing that we've invested in. The second, what we've invested in is a molecule, which is a sort of yogurt that helps people that are sick with Alzheimer's. And in 2 years, we've greatly invested in this project, and we're going to have, in January, we're going to have a new collaborator, a new partner in this regard. So we also have a property that absorbs CO2. We have also funded that project. And we've also come to an agreement with IKEA. What it does is basically coat their mattresses with this product. So this helps both IKEA, because since they are making the most out of the social corporate responsibility by coating the mattress, and I think I'm running out of time. Thank you. My name is Lucía Iborra, and I'm the founder of Visual Nazart. And there is a lot of money in play, I'm sure. I am the founder of the Visual Nazart. I founded it with my sister. My professional trajectory started when I was 20, when I was already started funding companies. So our first company was of food safety, and that project is already 20 years old, that company, so I think we've had some success. Visual Nazart is a company that focuses on agriculture. We aim at helping agricultures in order to be more sustainable. We help them to save on fertilizers, on waters, on the use of equipment, of machines. And we also try to help the farmers to focus their treatments on more sustainable. We also want their fields to produce more revenue and be better quality. So we are the 3rd generation of farmers. We also have fields that we use to experiment with all these new technologies. As I said, this is a global platform that's already helping over 3 million farmers with over 3 million hectares of land. We're especially present in Spain, but also in other countries. And we've we've made a special impact on the people using this platform because we've been able to connect all of their equipment, their tractors, their apparatus with the Internet of Things. So even though I'm on the other side of the world, with a message that I receive on my phone, I can turn off the sprinkler system because I know that there's rain predictions for tomorrow and the day after. So before we had to be all manual work, and this is truly a revolution. So we are an experienced business now. So now what we're trying to do is finding other technological businesses in order to collaborate with them, because we all work together. We all need to work together. We all need to make the use of all technology in the sector, such as blockchain, as I mentioned before. We are using artificial intelligence, but it's quite difficult to do it on ourselves. So we're currently busy scouting and recruiting other similar companies in order to work together all over the world. Thank you. Thank you. I am Maria Lozana, responsible for entrepreneurship at the CEU. So some of the projects that are interesting for us are the projects related to cybersecurity, science tech, business intelligence. But we're also interested in other types of projects that we believe is very useful to promote amongst our students, because we believe it has a great social impact. So we look at what type of quality should an entrepreneur have? Well, we want them to be individuals with very eager to work, they're very curious, very passionate, and we believe that type of behavior needs to be, we need to make the most out of that type of behavior, and also being very resistant, being able to work very hard, and we need to train and grant these individuals, give them experience so that they are able to face all of the challenges, so that in the future they will be able to do this all by themselves. So apart from promoting entrepreneurship, we work with training entrepreneurship all over the world with a lot of different companies. We work with entrepreneurs in a lot of different companies. And a lot of times we also have students that are promoting their own projects, and they're collaborating with all the companies. So to all the companies here in the room, and you're interested in working with all that young talent, I invite you to get in touch with us. So we really need you, all you companies out there, and we need you to believe and promote the young talent. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name is Martinez, Caro. I work at Julius Baer, which is a bank. So what we do is getting counseling to our clients to ask where they should invest their money, such as startups and other companies. So our network is quite a new company. This year, we've bought 18% of a company that dealt with cryptocurrencies. And as you know, it's quite a controversial topic in a lot of countries. So we bought 18% of a company called Seva, which dealt with these currencies. And this startup started in April 2018. And this August already, they had received the green light in order to be the first universal bank that could deal with cryptocurrencies. So that's going to be quite interesting for the world of fintech. So I think this is very incredibly modern, and we are investing a lot of money to have a next generation team working for the bank, and with their job is to study the trends in all stratuses, working from technological topics, changes in technology, changes in energy, etc. So with that information, we hope to be able to guide our companies, our clients, and tell them what companies they should invest in, because they will be a sure bet for the future. So, as I said, these can be either startups or more consolidated companies. So that's our point of view. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Teresa, for having invited me. I don't want to waste the 2 minutes introducing myself, because my time is limited. We have money to spend on good ideas. So when you ask me what the most disruptive investment that we have is probably, I would have to say, individuals, because we invest in talent, in the capacity that an entrepreneur has in order to become a businessman and to create growth, value for its country. And from the point of view of an investor that is trying to create revenue, it's very doable. But talent is blind, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of race. And I also don't agree with the trend that we need to fill our rooms with female engineers, because we've gotten to a point where the great disruptive technologies such as AI, the challenge does not lie in big data and algorithms, but rather in the computational linguistics, which is a branch of humanistics and not technology. So I would never force my daughter to become an engineer, but I would rather encourage her to pursue her talents, which is, I think, very important. So and when it comes to female entrepreneurship, the values of ethics, of humanity, that is usually not found in men, or men usually lack that quality. I work in between China, both China and Madrid, so I guess I could say that I come from the future in order to tell you what's going to happen. So what I want to say is that female entrepreneurship, you are have a great task. You're great at humanity and giving meaning to technology. So therefore, I truly encourage you to make technology sustainable and to make our world a better place. So thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Eugenia. I am the co-founder of an initiative called Raising Tide Europe, and we unite women to work in startups. There's almost 300 of us in 500 countries, and we've already invested in 17 projects. We invest in technology, but since we invest in a lot of different projects, we look at diversification of industries, so we also look at diversifying technology. So since I'm an engineer, I'm going to try to make the most out of 2 minutes. So what we focus on when we are investing. So what we look at is if the startup has a useful goal, what the business model is, if there are any barriers, if there are possibilities of growth, the evaluation, but most importantly, the team. Whether the team has a network around them, and the governance with its council around it and the administration structure. So what we focus on when looking at the team, I'm going to mention what we look at when looking at a new technological business. I am a entrepreneurship teacher, and I focus on passion entrepreneurship. And these characteristics are very similar for all entrepreneurs, albeit technology or any other sector. So these characteristics are, first of all, knowing the industry in which you are playing, or having a sense of resilience and resistance. Things are never going to go easy. So you need to be sure that you're going to stand your ground no matter what happens. Third, don't worry about the go-to-market, about making your way to the market. Fourth, being willing of being flexible, being open to new things. And this is called the lean startup. Next, being able to understand your networks and know your pros and cons, your own weaknesses and strengths. So just to wrap it up, and it's important to have a great passion for what you do. Good afternoon. My name is Victoria Gago. I come from Denmark. I've been here for 15 years, and I started working in a private funding and private equity. Then I moved to M&A, which is when I engulfed myself in the technological world. Because currently in Spain, we haven't seen so much investment in technology. So this summer, I decided to leave the world of finance behind. And I am now completely 100% dedicated to a project that I haven't announced yet. So I am focusing on startups. And on the other hand, I'm also working on a blockchain product, which is the European Blockchain Convention. And here, this conference is dedicated to the corporate world and also startups and investors. We're busy working on a third edition, and it's very interesting to see all the different applications and uses of startups in the world of blockchain, since there are a lot more than last year. Now, this is very positive because if you look at the landscape of VCs in the world of blockchain, then Europe was lacking compared to the US and Asia. This was last year, but also obviously in the current year. It's really hard to see. There are a lot of different startups in the field of logistics, financing, transport. We have received a lot of very interesting applications for startups. And we want to see what VCs are willing to invest in these projects. So the next edition will be held on the 20th and 21st of January in Barcelona. So I invite you to come if you're interested in blockchain technology. But if you want to go beyond that, the fourth edition will be organized in Copenhagen, which is where I'm from. But that will be more focused on Nordic countries, but it's the same structure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm Business Angel. I focus on finding financing when there is no cash. So I focus, or I investigate the project, and I see if it's a viable project. I look and see if the product is global, which doesn't mean that it's found on the internet, but that it can be sold in a lot of different countries without any additional effort. The additional compromise, so we need to multiply our growth by 10 times in the following 10 years. So if you don't have that perspective, you don't have that goal, then it's not worth investing. So one of the KPIs needs to have millions now this can be either the amount of clicks, visits to the website. So other KPIs can be the tens of thousands, but one of them has to be in the million. So the shareholder has to have 25%, the founder has to have 25% of the shares. So each has their own opinion or their own criteria, but this is mine. So you can have team growth. But you need one of them. So either you are growing very quickly and you don't have that good of a team, or you're growing. Either you're not growing very fast, but you have a really good team, or you're doing it by yourself and you're growing very fast. But you need to be able to sell yourself, or you need to convince on a phone call. So if you're not able to convince someone with a simple phone call, usually the product is too difficult, so you need to make it more efficient and easier to sell. So another thing is that it shouldn't work for, it should be a non-governmental organization. So a lot of times, you need to be able to find clients that you should be able to call and close the project as soon as possible. If there's any government involved, it usually gets a lot more complicated. So if your solution is a small improvement, it's not going to have success. It has to be something very, very important. So you need to be able to call them, and they should tell you that they want it right now. So there are a lot of people that trust in IBM, a lot of important companies, but your project has to be a lot better in order to convince them straight away. So the product has to be one product. It can be 8 type of variants with different options. You need to simplify it as much as possible. So I don't try to invest a lot at the beginning because in the second round, the second investment, so if it's just an investment of 50,000 or 100,000, that's usually not worth it. So it has to be minimum $500,000. So you need to aim high, try to find a lot of clients, and to make that first round of investment be a significant investment. So I think a lot of time we don't have enough projects that are small projects that are not worth the investment. So we need to try to design the type of invest in a company that size. A lot of time they can be a niche product, but it's important to aim high. So I have a similar profile, but I think our main difference is that beyond investing in other businesses, is I promote new businesses, and I generally do that together with other teams. And I also work on the development of the company, even though I'm not the director of any company. I have an active role in the council or somewhere in another position where they require a council. So I have the role of the counselor and investor. I am currently working for 8 companies. I can't do anymore, so it's a lot of work already. So the ideas that I am involved in is in the world of startups. I don't focus on technology, but rather more on the business. For me, it's important to understand the business structure. So what comes after that is not that important to me. So this year I've invested in 2 fintech companies. So just so you got an idea of the type of businesses that I invest in. So in the past years, we've seen that there have been a lot of fintech platforms, a lot of websites where you can invest your savings, albeit crowdfunding or others. There are a lot of interesting projects. And some of these are being funded by or pushed forward by banks. But people know that there's a lot of projects, but they're not sure if they're worth investing in. So these people are usually that have access to to private banking. But the biggest part of the massive population doesn't have access to it. So we've created a new platform similar to My Investor, but we don't just focus on giving access to the products, to all the different products at a much lower cost. But we also focus on giving access to all private banking systems through a different platform at a much more efficient cost. So what we want is people to have a very efficient counseling, not just related to private banking, deposits, at a very low cost and in a very independent manner. So I am not allowed to disclose any more information because we haven't launched our company yet. It will be launched in October. But we have found a solution to this problem and a way to do things in order to give everyone counseling at a relatively low cost, and so that they can obtain a full, they can see the full picture of their heritage. So we've invested in another platform this year with another completely different team, which is a platform that aims at the massive market, which is the private equity funds, venture capital. Now, these funds tend to have a very high investment risk, usually, and people don't have access to it because they're not published in the conventional methods. Now, these products have a secondary market, so that's why we've launched a B2B platform. And we're also doing the same for a vast European market, which focuses on the venture capitals in order to grant financing to these different projects. Similar as if they were to buying actions for Telefónica. For each of what I'm looking for all of these companies is for their directive board that they have the knowledge. They have all the necessary knowledge. So, for example, we're looking for profiles that are more aimed at marketing, customer service, profiles that are people that are used to dealing with large numbers. But if we focus more on a B2B platform, we're looking more for profiles that are or people that are more used to processes, interpersonal communications, because that's what these platforms are about at the end of the day. And at a personal level, apart from talent, we also look for working capacity. Sometimes working is a lot more, the working capacity is a lot more important than talent. So if somebody is very hardworking, you can surpass even the most brilliant individuals. Thank you. I think you've gone over our time limit, but I think it's been worth it. We've been able to show that there is capital, that we are willing to invest. There are a lot of different projects. Then we need to be able to channel all of those. So from W Startup or other platforms, we are willing and able to help you to find your way and to help you get in touch with investors. So there is financing and there are ideas. Thank you.
Tú ponte al lado mío, yo me voy a poner aquí, tú ponte como eres la última que vas.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Good evening. So next panel we'll try to speed it up a little bit. We're going to discuss disruption in the boardrooms. So we've been discussing different issues now, so now we will see how this can affect the board of directors. We'll work on how innovation, technology changes, and the change of regulations affects the governance of the corporates. And we'll see how and why the board of directors need to look for the renewal of their business model whenever it's necessary. We'll be lucky to have Concha Iglesias, who is a partner member of Deloitte. And she will be moderating the next panel. So we will hear from them. Thank you. If you can please join us here as a panelist. So I don't know if we're changing topic or not, but I can see the room is full, is full. We are very bad in time, so we need to shorten our panel. My friends here on the table have been very disruptive. They did not attach to the instructions I gave to them. They've been changing a lot in the last few days. And it is so important to be with such an important group of people here with you. Strategic risk, as Teresa said, we've discussed about innovation, entrepreneurship, but also we can create value through efficient management of the board of directors. The leading companies in the future will be those who can anticipate the strategic risk. This can destroy companies. And also we need to manage the regulatory and financial risk, operational risk, and cybersecurity risk. So we will discuss the value creation through innovation, through technology, to see how we can apply this technology to the board of directors. I will not introduce the panelists. They already have the position they have because they deserved it, so we will listen to them. Please, Maite, if you want to start. From Adolfo Dominguez. This is a disruptive company, right? Thank you, Concha. In this period of digital disruption, very often there's like big changes like a tsunami, and we need to be prepared to adapt to these new waves and to surf those waves so that we are not driven away. So at our member of directors, we approve the new strategic plan, and we always do a follow-up of the goals. And in our case, it is very important to invest in innovation, technology, and talent. This is where we are investing a lot in the product traceability, in big data, AI, and how we can personalize the customer service, and of course, customer experience, and also using different technologies to unify different distribution channels. We are increasing by 70% in e-commerce trade, and we are now also increasing the young population. We have an increase of 100% with teenagers. We now also have a new area of talent and culture, because on the one hand, we need to retain the talents we already have, and we need to train them for the new era to come. And also, we need to be able to attract the new talent we need. Arantxa, now we will see the perspective from SMEs with the potential to grow as a big company. Yeah, we were a family company for software development for hospitals, but now with the new generation of the family, after 4 years of hard work, we have become a big referent for advanced data analytics for the health industry. SMEs are much behind the big companies, obviously, and many SMEs are not doing much to adapt to the new era. And this is a big mistake, because consumers are changing, and the talent we used to recruit, we can no longer attract this talent because things have changed a lot. So from the SMEs, for the corporate governance, we need to manage to find external talents that can help us, that can, as a consultant. And as Maite said, we need to be able to convince internal talent of the need of these changes. And for the corporate governance, we need to apply things which may be inherent to the huge companies, but also this is necessary for SMEs. This could be the corporate responsibility. This is very important for the consumers. Also the staff can value this, our staff. And obviously regulation is also changing a lot in this sense. Compliance is more and more important, also for SMEs in the long term, if we want to become a bigger company and continue attracting the consumers, and also going to continue attracting talent. Thank you. Anna, maybe you can tell us something else about this attraction of talent. We have a program to attract female talent. This is just to offer value in all the fields we've been discussing today, just to show that the female presence in technology careers needs to increase to achieve this 50% equality gender. So we want to inspire and educate the new generation of women leaders in science and technology. And we do this in a very simple way. We offer them an idea, a view of the technology companies in a very different way as to what the schools do. We offer different workshops, training, with different shadowing sessions and master classes to offer a totally different view. We've been working for 4 years And this last year, we're going to do this simultaneously in 11 cities, applying the same project. And in the last 4 years, we had a big impact on 1,200 women students. And many of them now have decided to do a career at university, in technology universities. And this goes from high school up to the students during their university studies, so that we close the circle of training. Thank you so much, and thank you for sticking to the time. Anna, maybe you can add something on the SMEs from the technology point of view. We also are a family company, a technology company, SME. We were a startup 30 years ago. Now we have new startups and new investments. I was the founder, so I've been working for 30 years. I've always been happy in this, and I communicate my happiness. That's me. And I work on offering welfare within my board of directors. I think if people are not happy, they cannot be in my company. That's the most disruptive part of our company. I hope it's simple. Oh yeah, it was good to listen to the word happiness. That's important to hear the word happiness, of course. Yeah. So we all here want to see happiness in what we do. We all are happy in our company. So Audiotech, our company was founded in 1989. And we started being just a startup, like the ones from the panel before. So people would ask me, so what do you do? And I would say, I just eliminate noise. I do acoustics. And now what do I do today? Today I'm working on platforms where noise can be measurable, then it can be improved. So we do research and development and innovation for welfare, not of noise, but of the welfare and comfort. And I remember one panelist before said that our service needs to go not to our clients, but to the clients of our clients, and also to the clients of the hotels, because they are our clients, through the hotel who is our client. So it has to go viral. Our products need to go viral. So from our board of directors, if you ask my colleagues, in-house and external collaborators, we ask them where we can continue investing, where we can find talent, what we have to do. Also, if we need to do it, I always ask you. So I believe it is very important that this talent, we need to drive this correctly. So the board of directors are here to drive those ideas, to control, of course, the economic balance of the company, or the balance sheet. But of course, we need to address to the new generations, because it will be no good if we do not attract those new, younger talents to continue our ideas and our company. So we're always looking for talent. Always I'm looking for money for investment, but basically talent. So, and if you have any problem in the field of noise, please let us know. Thank you. Great. So Ana Garcia Fau, you know her name. Many of you will know her name. So from your experience, what do you think? Are we adapting now to new regulations and to new technology disruptions? So strategy has always been part of our board of directors. But now we're all discussing why we need to talk more and more about strategy. So one of the reasons to talk more about this is because we are having many, many changes, and these changes are faster and faster every day. So this makes it more difficult to predict. So those strategic plans we used to have for 5 years, we used to approve them. So now these strategic plans are shorter and shorter in the years. And sustainability needs to be in the long term. All business models are being threatened somehow by disruption and tested all the time. For example, for the car industry, it's one of the sectors where I work. Here we have more and more factors for geopolitics, but also self-driving car Also, the smart cities, the way in which mobility is changing, or the way in which millennials want to utilize those cars instead of buying them. So the board of directors need to also evolve. We need to be much more agile in decision making, and this means we need to be more and more trained. We need to have new profiles in the board of directors with new business models, with new disruption models. We need to also use our time in a different manner. We're discussing more and more about strategy in the board of directors. We need to be more trained in that. And also in the different commissions for auditing, for example, we discuss a lot about risks of transformation, and also for corporate responsibility. And it's a key factor for innovation. So at the board of directors, we really need to incorporate new profiles, new talent to respond to the analysis of the strategic challenges we have. Great. So next, now please speak a bit slower because I'm becoming very stressful hearing to you speaking so quick. So now it's talking from the point of view of our foundation for SMEs. Thank you so much, Teresa. I know you're a bit stressed with the time. I'm going to be very long. I thought I'm going to be very long, but no, I won't be. I work in health. I work a lot in health. So we work for the future in immunology and in personalized medicine, so that we can have more research in those fields, so that researchers can find the causes of these diseases, but also so that we can live more healthy. There is so much big data out there, and this is important to prevent diseases, but also for curation. We need for the cures. So we are working a lot in our society, solving problems such as aging in Spain, for example. So we will have longer lives. So we need to be more happy during our lives. So we work for this, so that we are happier during all our life. Also, we work with children to promote prevention of those diseases and to foster more of a healthy life and to work in a sustainable environment. We work in many different lines. So thank you so much.
Bien, vamos a hablar, nos quedan ya solo dos intervenciones. Vamos a hablar.
So we only have two more speakers. So what about the laws? What about the regulation? What are the best practices here? It is difficult to match those two issues. We have the board of directors, and also we have disruption and startups, and even failure. This I've only heard once today. So with all these elements together, it is important to reflect on this. So how can the board of directors help a company? This we can do because before everything was secret within the board of directors, and no one in the company would know what would be the relationships within the corporate. But now with the good governance in the corporates, just for you, for the startups to have this information, what really has changed is transparency as to who is responsible for what and why. And this we need to explain within the company and also to the outside world of the company, because this offers transparency and a better way of working. And when it comes to disruption, now we're sort of open box. So now disruption was a huge change, and now the walls have fallen down, so now we can see through the new crystal walls we have within our corporate. So we need to now integrate the whole corporation to, when it comes to make decisions. We need to take into account all stakeholders for the decision-making processes. And this may appear very complex, but this was after the failure of the model we used to have, where the single thought of a corporate was the board of directors, and this led to huge failures of some companies. So this is something we had to learn, unfortunately, with big failures. So I recommend the startups who are now starting to prevent these failures by working in a very natural way. This we had to learn later on. But now you have to start things with a very small seed. So you don't need to have a board of directors at the beginning, but you need to have a consultancy board, and you can vote to see if there was failures so that you can scale up to become a very powerful organization. Next speaker is a very famous headhunter. So what she was going to tell us is very interesting. So what's your view? You have huge information onto how these positions are changing in the board of directors. Maybe you can tell us, you have 2 minutes for this. Thank you. So the board of directors last year, there were 173 new positions of non-executive board members. And here there are more and more independent people. So 84% we had before. Now it's 65%, which are in-house. So then the new trend, well, 2 in every 3 are new as a board of directors, as a member of the board of directors. So, and it's now young professionals. So now, for the new young members of the board of directors, it's younger people, and they are working as an executive director and also have a position in the board of directors. So now there are more possibilities for any of us to participate in those positions. And you should not be bad just because you're new, you cannot do it, because more and more we have more new people, and more we have international professionals. So 40% of the independent members of the board of directors are of foreign origin. 30% of them are from Europe. Also, we have some others from Europe and Asia and the UK and Latin America. And this is because the companies now want people who work very practically, who know where our member of the board of directors to which other countries are going. Unfortunately, women are only 25.4% in this board of directors, and only 3.8% of those members come from a technology environment, because nowadays people are more looking for people who know about some technology to be in those positions. But now all members of the boards need to understand the business processes through the distribution of digital tools. So now this is helping for the profiles to be different. So now women have more opportunities to access those board of directors. Thank you so much. So we need to create value through becoming members of the board of directors. We need to anticipate to the management of the strategic risk. Thank you so much.
Bueno, ya veo las caras un poco cansadas, pero os veo.
So I see some tired faces, but I think there's still some energy in you. So we're about to start with the last panel today. I am a human rights lawyer, and that's why, and this is something that they've talked about in a previous panel. And it's, for me, what women contribute to ethics is very important to me. It's a pleasure for me to be able to present this panel with the title New Business Skills, Ethics, and Social Impact. Because I think it's time to think about ethics and its social impact, combined, of course, with new technologies. I also believe that right now, in New York, they're talking about the 2020 agenda, 2030, excuse me. And Cristina Gaga is currently there, collaborating with the German ministry, working to the agenda, the 2030 agenda. So we still have 10 years left. And I've placed a lot of trust in technology, but we need to focus on ethics. And I couldn't have imagined a better person to be the moderator for this panel than Pat Gomez. I know her personally, professionally, and I can assure you that she is a magnificent psychologist and an even better coach. Pat, thank you so much. Kata, I can see that you really love me. I'm a psychologist, but I promised I won't analyze any of you, which I am a technological psychology, and I work with companies in their digital and cultural transformation. So Xavi was already wondering, how are we going to talk about this with the public? So I want to touch upon the topic that Rosa spoke about in the first panel. I don't know if you remember the impact of new technologies, the positive social impact, the advancements. But what we're also seeing is, I want to ask about the negative aspect, the negative impact. So I'm going to ask about two things. So what consequences is this digital revolution having on our society? We also spoke a lot about values, and what values and talents must we develop in order to adapt to this new society? If you had a piece of advice for someone in this new society, what would it be? So with all of you in this panel, but I am also very excited to give the floor to Cristina. Thank you, Teresa, for the invitation. I think we are currently embarking on a completely new world in the field of technology. And I think we've spoken about this before. So we're seeing fantastic things that are happening. We're seeing a more inclusive and transparent world with blockchains, the council's administration. We have clearer processes. And we have a lot of individuals in Africa, for example, where they used to have less access to healthcare and education, and we want them to have more access to these thanks to technology. So that, in that sense, technology is fantastic. But at the same time, we're also seeing a growing fear or challenge, which comes from these technological changes, since we haven't really been able to fix them or handle them from a more social point of view. For example, the scope of AI, data management, how much technology is advancing, and how much the blockchain technology is impacting on our decision-making, on our safety, on our lives. Is this also impacting on our own decision-making, and therefore also our personal freedom and our collective decision-making? So these types of challenges that we're seeing, I'm not going to go more in depth, but I think you've all thought about this before. So we must face all of these challenges together, and for that we require the necessary structures, and the public structures have to collaborate and have to be interdisciplinary with different points of views. For that, and we want to be able to see what society we want to achieve and how all of these new technologies are impacting on that society we want to achieve. And from both the startups to the public sector, we need to create a new society together that uses technology for good. Thank you very much. Elena, please, what is your opinion? I also work with artificial intelligence. I work at Insurtech, the technology for insurance. And I have seen myself transform a lot. I used to work for another company in another completely different field, and now I work with AI. So when people ask me what artificial intelligence is, people are usually scared and afraid of fear. And I think that this is having a huge impact. And I think the problem does not lie in in technology, but rather in the individuals. Once we lose that fear and that the unwillingness to change, we will be able to advance in all regards. So how do we do that? First of all, we need to understand how everything works. Information is key, but not just the training when we are small, in education. We need to change the way we think. So we need to understand this interdisciplinary aspect, and we need to understand that cultural change that we require for both companies and individuals. And we need to understand that technological change doesn't depend on the companies, but rather on the individuals. And this change is necessary on all levels, because the changes that we are living is going at such an alarming pace that in the following years, everything will be different. So we need to be open and flexible to change. Thank you very much. My name is Silvia Taudian. I am German. I work in both between Germany and Spain. I am headhunter, and I am the coach for businesswomen. So when we are looking for a profile, we are looking for we want there to be no gender gap in the profiles that we have. But the problem is we don't find talent in either men or women. So we really need to perform a witchcraft in order to find and attract or make these people fall in love with us, because it's so difficult. Currently, we see that the wage gap is still present in Spain. In general, somebody in the technological field earns a lot more in Germany than in Spain. And this is a problem when it comes to attracting international talent to Spain. So lastly, what qualities are we looking for? We're looking for flexible people, open-minded people that want to change the world. But we have so many, but we're going back to with so many millennials, we're going back to our roots. And with the baby boomers are more focused on other important aspects. Thank you so much. Alex Barrera, it's an honor to have you here. You work for one of the most important businesses in the field of technology. So what I want to ask you, I want to ask you if you think that technology is always positive, or if on the other hand we should be careful with certain things. Well, first of all, it's a real honor to be here. I've worked in the field of technology for 15 years, and looking at all of this is very impressive. So please, a round of applause to everyone here and all the organization. So yeah, please. Because this is really not the norm. So they always call me very negative, but I want to be realistic. Well, please don't get the audience crying, because this is the last intervention. Well, I would like to say three things. First of all, I'd like to talk about the optimization, machine learning, AI. They still commit mistakes, and a lot of them. And their certain programs are aimed at optimizing certain variables. And when they are applied to humans, then we're going to have more problems. Because we try to simplify behaviors that cannot be simplified with one simple variable. So every time we're running into more and more people that are asking for structural changes. And just so you get an idea, up until 6 months ago, there was no maths that dedicated to fixing this model. So we have the case of Epstein, Facebook, WeWork. And these people are working on these systems, and these companies are working on developing these systems. And sometimes these cases have issues with moral and ethics. So sometimes somebody might ask us, or might ask if that's morally wrong. And it bothers me when some people don't understand if somebody dies because of a problem with a machine or a system, if that's correct or not, if that's morally wrong. And lastly, I would say that I'm worried about the big differences between technologies. There's no contingency plans for people to use technology. If you look at the Gini coefficient in the United States, what they tend to... This is an important issue because politicians don't really have any action plan in order to tackle this issue. And sometimes the result of this is you have 2 million jobs lost. So now we go over to Miriam Izquierdo, the founder of Women Forward. I wanted to ask you to talk about the qualities that we need in order to face all those challenges. Never in the history of humanity have we given so much importance to talent in the workplace. But as we've mentioned before, there's the millennials and the younger generations are rather impatient. And that is, that kind of goes against our sustainability plan. So this is why I think that is key to promote ethics, loyalty, and I completely agree with the German speaker about all those values that millennials have. In the 9th century, the philosopher Alpha Hoechlin when they asked him what the value of the humanity was, he says that if it's intelligent, it has more value, and if it's attractive, it gets more added value. And if it's rich, it gets much more value. But if you remove the ethics, then the value will be equal to 0. So if we don't have ethics, we have nothing. Only through ethics can we create value in our society, in the institutions, in different companies. So that's why we need to try to find values which we usually lose out of sight. So now we go over to Loreto González. It's a pleasure to have you here.
So please tell us about the social impact of new technologies and about how new technologies can help us for near disruption. What skills will we need in the future? Well, our company, Ferry, is not a huge company, but we've invested a lot in innovation and in digitalization. And a big asset for us has also been the data on people. This has become a huge asset now, and it is our big data through which we predict the success of a person to face a professional challenge. So I would like to share with you some different ideas related to a study we conducted about the future of labor. It is the $1 million difference, where we did a challenge of technology and talent. This was to analyze something which most corporate leaders believe. So normally it's more related to big corporates or medium-sized or big startups. So many people think that assets such as technology are a critical factor or more important than non-tangible assets for the future. And basically, our conclusion, well, 77% of CEOs believe that technology will be the biggest source of growth for their companies in the next years. So they believe that technology or the CFO will be the most important position. But the biggest source of growth by many people responded that it was a human capital. And many CEOs get this wrong, and they are worried to be number one in new disruptive technology. But even though we hear people are most important and transformation is done by people, we do not invest so much in people. And this linked to my own experience in working with leaders of big companies. And also compared to the big players from big sectors, the leaders of big companies are very much concerned about technology, but those in startups are more concerned in talent. And this could sound obvious, but this is today's reality. And I think there should be a bigger reflection on this, on transformation, on talent. And also, experts ask us a lot to find new directors. So people ask us, so what do people look for? Well, I don't know. It depends on what for and when and where. So for today's conference here, I was thinking, well, if I had to pick only 2 skills which are paramount for the leaders of the future, I would, for this new digital era, just to mention, if only 2 skills. One would be the capacity of communication. We cannot just remain the same. And also we have the analytical capacity so that we can see things with different eyes. And these big skills together can create a self-disruptive leader. Thank you so much. Very interesting, this approach. And also for the future, for the new professions, Lena Ibanez is a big expert. She's been researching a lot on this. Like Manu, I sort of like come from the future, because we've been researching on the employments of the future. We have a platform to connect people with the future employments recommended according to their profile. So we've created a mapping of over 3,000 employments for the future, or jobs for the future. Both technology, a more humane side, more or less developed in higher education required. So if I was to recommend someone to train on something, I would say mainly on being robot-proof against all robots, because 75% of what we do will be made by robots in the next few years. And we need to be more creative. And we need to be able to resolve complex problems. So there will be more AI models. They can win a chess play, but they cannot find a resolution for a very complex problem. So the second skill we all will need in the future is to be a better permanent Leonardo. This means we need to continue training ourselves constantly in everything. We've seen we need to speak different languages, computational language, and technology will evolve more and more. And so, but we need to remain humane. So these 2 things, we need to be robot-proof, but also continuous learning we need. And maybe third would be, well, I would say the world is now suffering a digital transformation, but the digital is even the past. So the revolution of the world will come with artificial intelligence, because we need to have a clear difference of the artificial world and the real world. So we have the development of biotechnology and virtual reality. This will be the big disruption. And this will lead us to ethics. Thank you so much. You have 50 seconds left. I'm going to lose the game because I have no more time for me. He will tell us about talent. So it's our firm. We sell a service of man-hour or women-hour at Deloitte Corporate Excellency Center. Our firm has suffered a lot due to the disruption we've been mentioning. So when I joined the company 21 years ago, we were an auditing firm and a legal firm. But now we have engineers, architects in our team, psychologists, economists, and even hackers. So how do we manage our talent if we have hackers and lawyers in the same office? This is complicated, especially with the new needs of these new people, or the needs they want to have and the speed we have in everything. So we have cases where in the third case they want to be the new CEO of our company, and if not, they will leave the company. So this is one of the big challenges. We need to find more flexibility, remote working. And we have survived this risk, this disruption, thanks to our values. This concept is very important in our company. So values need to be communicated by the associates of our consultancy firm. And also we need to reward good work, and we need to work with good ethics. We are very diverse in our company from many countries with many different cultures, different ethics. We need to explain to them what we expect from them, our work. We need to reward effort. We need to be very honest, humble, and we need to respect each other and work in team. We're a cross-sectional firm. We work with different profiles and the same projects, so we need to be very respectful. So just as a food for thought, our biggest statement as a company, we are the leaders of delivering services, but also delivering values to our clients. We need to look after our values, and we need to communicate our values. And if these are the values of our firm, we have the classic values very well incorporated in our daily business. So this is how we can survive in the long run. Thank you so much. So next we have Victor Meseguer. Thank you so much for being here. I know you had a personal issue, so we had to drive up here by car from the University of Murcia, 500 kilometers away from here. Thank you so much. So thank you, Teresa, and also to Sofia. It is a great honor for us from the Catholic University San Antonio in Murcia to participate here. So why am I here from the university? Why are we here to tell you about talent management? It is easy to say that our best asset is people, but we've heard that founders of startups, it's only 7% are women. So only 14% are women, so the rest will be men. So we are losing so much talent for startups. So we need to look our we need to look after our people. So we need to find and manage talent, for promotion of human capital. I don't want to be pessimistic. Oh, please, you have to be very, very brief. We need to first know what's our reality. Now, our young people are overqualified, and this can be a toxic situation, such as it was the subprime mortgages. We need to have an early detection of what our young people like. Like in the Amazonas, children already know what they want to do in the future, whether they want to be a wizard for their tribe, or they want to go hunting. So we have now everyone going to university, but social mobility is exactly the same. And we need to analyze how we can work with talent. I have a friend who says we need to find different positions in our society. We need to promote entrepreneurship culture. And when I ask my students for business studies, they all want to be public workers or directors in a company, for human resources directors. None of them wants to start a company. So, but we can hear how politicians tell unemployed people to open a company. And we need corporates, we need companies so that human talent can be producing. So at university, in our board of directors, we are mainly women. At our UCAM university, we have our general director is a woman, but it's not a strategy. We also have a training. We have worked a lot on digitalization. Just because we have every year we have fewer young students, so we need to find new students from Latin America. So half of my professors or students are out of Spain. We've also created an social innovation observatory with 4 lines. For consultancy for corporates, we work with social responsibility. We work on digital world, and also for women empowerment. We've worked together with the bank Santander Bank for one of those projects. So unfortunately, this is a negative analysis of today's situation. So there's a lot to do. So the future should not be like the present. And I truly believe that we need to change so that our reality can be transformed. And when it comes to women leadership, we need to include their big talent, and we need to have more companies which are profitable. Social responsibility is something nice. We need to be transparent, but with 3 very important principles, especially after what we've seen in the last few years. So it's not just about how much money we make, but also about how we make this money. We need to be fair, we need to be legal, and we need to respect the individual and collective rights, and we need to preserve our natural resources. Thank you so much. Thank you, and congratulations for these aspects, for telling us about the new university students. When you ask young people, what do you want to be? They say, well, I want to be a YouTuber or an Instagrammer. I want to be an influencer. So just to summarize this last panel, we have the idea that we really need to be responsible in innovation. We need to think of how technology needs to help us to do things. We need to see how technology makes sense only if we solve problems of our society. We need to have ethics of technology. And here I am positive. More and more, we are creating cross-sectional teams with technology people, also programmers and engineers and economists, but also psychologists and anthropologists. So, and events like this, in the 3rd Forum of Inspiring Women Leaders in the Digital Era, these events are very important, and we need to all together think on how we can impact what we do with technology on our society. Technology needs to serve the humans, not we serving the robots. So finally, I want to quote Darwin. Only those species will survive, not the most smart or the fastest species, but those that can adapt to the environment. So we need to exit our comfort zone to have our values with all the talent we've heard. So we need to adapt. And the digital era is something we should not be scared of. It needs to be a problem, but a new challenge. Thank you so much for your attention. So next, we will have the award ceremony. Thank you so much.
Gracias a todos.
Vamos a reservar los aplausos para los ganadores. Vamos a invitar a Miss Hannah Buchan que proceda a la entrega a un pequeño remark y la entrega del premio a las terras.
So we'll have the very short conclusions of our conference, and finally, Mr. Prieto, the director of Red.es, will grant the award of this year. Thank you.
Okay. Buenas tardes todos. I'm the last.
Good evening.
I will make it brief. I have the honor of presenting the prize today. I want to thank you, Teresa, for and the whole W Startup community for organizing this inspiring conference today. I've learned a lot. I think we've covered a lot of ground. We at the U.S. Embassy thank you for supporting women founders and women-led tech innovation in Spain. My husband, Ambassador Duke Buchan, and I both come from Wall Street. I began my career in 1992 at a startup, long-short equity fund. We started with 2 people and $3 million in assets, and over 10 years we grew to $6 billion in assets. I was one of few women in Wall Street at that time in long-short equity, which I think is analogous to what we're seeing today in STEM, women in STEM, and certainly the university metrics that I've heard today. Since then, I have continued to support startups by investing in the last 5 years in an all-women-led seed investment fund called Golden Seeds in New York City. We're a group of women that have invested collectively $100 million over the last 15 years in women-founded and led businesses. We have seen many new ventures succeed and fail over time. Oftentimes, failure precedes great innovation and learning. Having a community for support is integral in the process. This conference today is an example of the willingness and dedication of the community to give their time and support each other. This is essential in startups. As I meet entrepreneurs in Spain, I am impressed by the extremely cooperative community and have noticed an increase in the willingness to take on risk, especially when compared with past generations here in Spain. We need risk takers to lead the way and innovate. We can no longer shy away for fear of failure. With that being said, it is my great pleasure to present the recipient of the Revelation Startup Award to a founder and risk taker who is a role model for all entrepreneurs, Maria Urbano, and her team at Evo Enzyme. Evo Enzyme is the first Spanish company working on directed evolution, a process that speeds the natural selection process. Evo Enzyme creates specialized enzymes for use in everything from biofuels to pharmaceuticals. Evo Enzyme is innovating in both leadership with a female founder and controlling shareholder, and in science by developing smart technology. Maria, congratulations to you and your team.
Bueno, muchas gracias a los organizadores y especialmente.
I would like to thank all organizers, especially Teresa Alarcos, for promoting initiatives like this, inspiring women leaders in the digital era. Also, I would like to thank the Spanish Institute of Research, CSIC. So this is just a start. So we have more and more passion thanks to this, so that we can achieve new goals. Thank you so much.
Por favor, para entregar el premio. El premio de ese es Alberto.
Perdón, el premio, perdón.
So, our award, ODS 5, is for Luis Alberto Castro Lorenzo and Gil and Amparo de Bárcena. Thank you so much. This award is the result of three factors simultaneously. This is innovation and simplicity. We wanted to respond in a simple manner to a real problem, which was a sustainable development of with gender equality, with a solution based on metrics to drive a change. Next is talent. We have the talent of other people. We've been working together, and our mentors who taught us a lot. And also the skills. We have had a great training, great values from our families, and of course, the passion we have to continue doing things in a different way. And of course, using technology. So thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you so much to all the organizers. Thank you.
Tiene la palabra la secretaria de Estado, señora Eras.
Mrs. Eras, Secretary of State of Universities, Research, Development and Innovation.
Buenas tardes, ¿no?
Good evening, dear friends. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And of course, I'm also happy that we've delayed. This session has been lasting longer and longer than scheduled, because thanks to this, I was able to listen, to learn, and to share most of the things I've heard. And I don't share some, but this maybe may think about many things. So, of the State Secretary of Universities, Research, Development and Innovation, I can tell you a lot about what I've been hearing in all the different sessions I've shared with you, but I'm not going to summarize what I've heard. Just very briefly, I will touch upon some very important points so that we can move on to have some drinks. It is true that it is difficult to have our girls to study science degrees at university. And these years, this number is being reduced. It's going down. This is different from my generation, when the number of women was increasing slowly. And why is this? This we should maybe analyze. We don't really know the causes, but this is a very fact. This is happening in all the developed countries. It seems that all welfare indicators of social and economic welfare indicators are related to this somehow. I can tell you we have 24% of girls in the science universities in Spain, studying in Spain, where we are training graduates who are escaping from us, going to other universities abroad. We are training excellent professionals at our universities who become graduates or doctors or MA graduates. But only 24% of them are girls in science degrees. But if we ask students who are 15 years old, if we ask them, well, 7% of boys say they will find a job in their field, but only 1% of women say they will find a job in their field. So they have no belief in their professional future, especially in IT and telecommunications. So what do girls think about their future? Do they not have a young model, or are salaries the same in men and women, or is there a salary difference? So we don't really know what's the cause, what's the driver for these big changes. In all countries in the world, at least in the developed countries, we do not really know what is the cause. We think there are many different factors here. Also, there's a macho society, which is growing slowly. But I will not go into this because we don't have so much time. But this is something we are analyzing. And this is one of the points which we are studying within our Observatory of Women, Science and Innovation. In this institute, we created this institute in November 2018. And within this research institute, not just for science and technology in women, but we've also analyzed what happens with scientific women. This we have already analyzed for 1 year, so we have already some data analyzed, but we still do not know what is going on in our country with innovative entrepreneurship women. We have no information, no data, no indicators, no reliable indicators on this, no data which are classified in a scientific, coherent manner in order to do a mapping of innovative women. So innovation is cross-sectional. Today we're talking about digital innovation, and obviously this has the biggest representation today. So these are disruptive technologies. So there are many types of innovation. I loved hearing today how we had cattle entrepreneur woman telling us how new technology, new digital technology can affect the rural world and the farming, of course. So we don't have this mapping of this reality. So this is one of the first priorities we have at our Observatory for Women in Technology, in Innovation, and in Entrepreneurship in Spain. We truly believe that the public policy, only then we will be able to continue working so that we are not losing 50% of the talent of our society, so that women can also reach gender equality in salaries, and so that they can become members of the direction of those companies, and so that they can have the energy to start their own company and be an entrepreneur. So for entrepreneur women, I know many of you will agree with this. We're also doing some important actions for women and men within entrepreneurship programs. We have the program Sociedad Invierte. This is a public capital, risk capital society or corporation here in Spain. We have launched together with institutions CDETI for industrial and technological development, so that we can invest in companies and projects for innovation, and thus attract also private capital. So from our ministry, together with this National Institute and with the private companies, we can jointly, hand in hand, work to achieve this new reality of having very good projects, being very successful with entrepreneurship, with entrepreneur women. So this is also important for you to know these projects. And just to conclude, I would like to, of course, congratulate all the entrepreneur women we have here, and also to the two corporates who were awarded this prize. This new journey on entrepreneurship with the technology and digital era has only started. We cannot allow this new technology, and this is very important for the public sector, we will not allow technology to be gender different. These mathematic algorithms which are designed by the big corporates, by the big companies, we cannot allow this technology to be gender unequal. We, of course, will need to research a lot in personalized medicine. This is one of the very important fields. And for the public sector, we need to look after our ethics, as we've heard so many times today. And we need to have a new regulation as soon as possible, because we need to speed up. Of course, technology is much faster than our regulation. This is so for students, for the society, and for the whole society, also for politicians, and for everyone. This is much faster than us, but we will not surrender. We will win the battle. So, as in any time in history, humanity always found a way to win. So we, women, leaders, will use this technology. This technology will serve us to have a better welfare, to have a better life, and to have a totally new vision of the future and of the reality. But I'm totally sure, I am convinced that we'll be able to somehow control this technology. Thank you so much, everyone.
Y ahora vamos a proceder a hacer networking.
So next we have some networking cocktail. So thank you so much for being here. I know we're a bit delayed due to our new format, so thank you so much.